Hello, beautiful people. This is Rod from Synaptic Schism. And in the week that I decided to start reviewing my own two MIDI guitars, a bunch of MIDI guitars came out. So lucky me. And I've only been reviewing brand new MIDI guitar plugins. So today we will be talking about AXURE Guitar MIDI Processor. To get the disclaimers out of the way, I applied for the affiliate program from Studio Sound Audio. I was accepted, which allowed me to get the guitar at a discount. So full disclaimer, I will leave my code, which will give you a discount also. So with that out of the way, let me talk about what I experienced with the guitar. So by the time that I decided to get my hands in this guitar, there was no walkthrough, so my initial idea was to do a walkthrough. In the meantime, Studio Sound Audio released a walkthrough, so if you want a more detailed information about the guitar, you should definitely go to their YouTube channel. I'm going to talk to you about my experience with the guitar, what I felt, what are the pros, the cons, and so on. But first and foremost, let's listen to it in context. There's no mixing, it's just my cream drums, a nocturnal bass, and two AXURE guitars, left and right, okay? Okay, so these were the guitars. I'm going to isolate the guitars only. The guitars are going through a archetype Petrucci with a rhythm preset. I didn't do much. There was like a -7 transpose here. I just removed it and put it into stereo, and that's it. So just the guitars, no other instruments. So apart from harmonies, what you heard were two separate sets of guitars. And this is one of the coolest things about this instrument. So what you get are literally two guitars. So you can see that the UI is a little bit different. So in this is guitar 1, as you can see here, G1. It has like this blue tint and then this red tint. These are literally two different instruments that are included, and they don't share a sample pool. So each instrument is the same guitar sampled twice separately. Okay, that's why you got, apart from the harmonies that I wrote, that you have. So for instance, when you have like chugs and so on, you get separation, that left-right separation, equivalent to double tracking. There's no other effect. There are no S effects, which usually a Haas effect is usually what it's used by guitar plugins to differentiate the left and right guitars. There's none of that here. It's two separate sample pools, which is really, really, really cool. Now, the other part of this fascinating thing is that they do not have at all a amp sim. They are just DI signals. As I mentioned several times, I never remember it. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to send it through Auto Audio 1111, which is a much deeper plugin than archetype Petrucci. So what I want to demonstrate is that it sounds good on an amp sim. Now, my experience with MIDI guitars is that usually they do not sound well on amp sims. Hellraiser certainly doesn't. The Ex Machina is quite a lot better than Hellraiser in that, especially in clean tones. It's really good. DJ Master and AXURE seem to be purposefully built to deliver a very good performance with whatever amp sim you want to use. And you might say, well, but that tone is really ugly. Okay, but that's my fault. I'm using just presets and nothing else. Although I do find that the tones are pretty cool. So keep that in mind, which is there's no amp sim. In my view, that's a good thing. You might disagree because you don't have the sound, but there are some really good free amp sims for metal tones that you can get. They will do a great work. Now, another thing that I want to show are the articulations. Because when I first opened the instrument, I was a little bit underwhelmed because I'm used to have a ton of articulations, and if it looks like a lot of them, but if you think about it, the guitar has sustain and palm mutes, and these two have alternate up and down picking. So 6 articulations for sustain and palm mutes, which is great. In this demo, for instance, I used a mix of down picking and alternate picking, and it does sound different if you just have alternate picking or if you don't even have alternate picking. The other articulations are slides, either fast or slow and up or down. I thought that I would be limited with these because I'm used to have either the note ringing and then having the slide down triggered, or having the note sliding up and then staying in that tone. To be honest, I didn't feel that that was necessary, especially because I was writing this kind of metal riff. I think that if I was doing something clean, I would probably miss it a little bit, or I would need to find a way to get a note to ring underneath, which is very likely possible. And then you have tapping and harmonics. Tapping can be used as tapping or as a way of having a legato feel to the notes. However, and I'm going to talk a little bit about sculpting the sound of the guitar, this legato thing can be achieved in a different way. So let me do something a little bit different. I'm going to isolate just one guitar. Let me put it in the center so we have a little bit more sound from it. Okay, so now we are listening only to this guitar. Okay, so the plugin offers a lot of sculpting capacity to the sound. And what do I mean by this? I mean mostly this knob, this selector here, and this thing. So one by one. Pick attack is exactly what it says there. So if I add pick attack, I have more pick attack. If I remove, I have less. And we can listen to the difference. So this is no pick attack, and you will listen that you will notice that you won't listen the attack of the pick on the string. Okay. And now with max pick attack. Now, I don't know how this is done. To me, it sounds as some sort of white noise that it's added there. It sounds really, really strong for metal riffs. So you can either choose or automate the pick attack, which gives you a lot of possibilities, like, for instance, what I meant with legato. So in legato, you want to hear the note getting played, but you don't want the pick attack. Okay. Now, the second one is the chugging, and the chugging is what you expect, that low end when you are palm muting. So with no chugs, you will listen to it and you will notice that the palm mutes here are a little bit like boom boom. Instead of being kong kong, they are boom boom. Okay. Okay, and now with the shug. Did you get that definition of the palm mute? The kung 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 instead of the boom boom boom. That's what shug does for you. So you can sculpt both the high end of the pick attack and the low end of the chug by adding these elements that sound really, really, really cool. Now, the third part, release, is about the release sample that gets to the end. I think I never touch this stuff, so I won't comment on that. Now, neck and bridge pickups are offered. I think that you should try and make your own decision. I was expecting to have something that would be like, I want to use this in rhythm and this in lead. That wasn't my experience. It's more a matter of, for the rhythm parts, it's more a matter of, in my perception, of choosing the type of sound that you want. What is the pickup that it's getting you, that's more that like high mids or low mids. I think it's a matter of choice. What I saw from Studio Sound Audio was that for lead guitars, having the phase drive does a number of things, from saturation, widening, and so on, that will allow you to have a more wide guitar. In my opinion, for leads, this would probably be a better choice than to have the two guitars. I want to talk about one last thing. I'm going to isolate, I'm not going to isolate anything, I just want this to go back to the left. So, one thing that it's in the manual that I found interesting, because it's true, but usually it's not that much discussed, is that often MIDI guitar instruments need to have a track delay. I want to dig a little bit more into it, because I believe that we can abuse it. So what the manual says is that the track delay can go at up to minus 50 milliseconds, which it's true, it can go up to there. So I'm going to put minus 50. We'll do it for science. And I'll show you. It's too early, right? So here's the thing. It's up to 50 milliseconds. What I would do is I would find like an happy medium where we should be. And in my opinion, for this track, this should be minus 25. Now, there's more that you can do with this minus 25, which is to separate the tracks further. Let's hear it with minus 25, just to check that we are there where we want the guitar to be hitting. What I would do in this case would be, I would put this at minus 20, and I would put the other one at minus 30. So what this will do is create a difference in time between the guitar arriving on the left side and on the right side. Our own Haas effect. And this will create more separation in the tracks. It's not something that is specific to this guitar. Keep this in mind. I think that the big takeaway about this part of the video is that this is something that you can use. And I've seen a lot of people commenting that guitars don't have enough separation, or that they don't have it in the plugin and so on. This is something that you can actually do. And some of the guitars, like the Ample Sound ones, that's the only thing they do. They don't do anything different. This guitar doesn't suffer too much from it because of the two separate guitars with the two separate sample pools. However, if you want just a little bit more, you can do it, and this is the effect. Okay, so what are my final thoughts? This guitar has everything that I would need to write the rhythm modern metal guitars, okay? With the added benefit of having the two separate guitars and having a really good sound in terms of being able to use an amp sim. If you are used to more articulations, that's okay. You don't need more than this to have like good modern realistic metal rhythm guitars. Now, I think that the question here is, will this guitar substitute Hellraiser for the chunk of my rhythm guitars? I don't know. I would need to test it. I like the sound more than Hellraiser. I like Hellraiser's articulations more than this guitar. So maybe it's a matter of picking the guitar that sounds the best in that context, because I feel that there would be this and Hellraiser are going to be colliding quite a bit. So I hope that this view and tricks and tips helped you to get an idea of how this guitar operates, and that the video was helpful. So until the next video, bye bye.